consulate itself. But the piece of Benghazi over which the House Armed Services Subcommittee that I'm talking about does have jurisdiction is not with respect to the ARB's work or with respect to the DS facilities on site at Benghazi. It is with respect to the posturing of the military in a volatile time around the world, which, as we now know from retrospect, was so poor as to make rescue or remedy impossible.
The poor statement is a reflection of an assessment made by Republicans who have, as you know, attempted, unfortunately, to make this a partisan issue. And I would simply say when it comes to, and I know that we're creating an exchange here for Fox, and I'm mindful of that, but allow me to suggest that questions about the posturing of defense forces are usually better addressed at the Pentagon.
My question to you, Jay, is, first of all, what we're engaged in here is not for Fox, it's for the record. And the fact that the posturing was such that it made remedy or rescue in that situation impossible is not a conclusion solely of the House Armed Services Committee or of Republicans. It's a self-evident fact. So all I'm trying to ask you is, with respect to these meetings that the President had with key national security principals the day before those attacks, how is it possible that you can maintain that adequate steps were taken vis-a-vis force posture by the Commander-in-Chief and his aides when, in fact, the posture is now universally acknowledged to have been such that it made remedy or rescue impossible?
Again, James, I think I said very clearly that there was not adequate security to protect those 4 Americans. And the President has been absolutely clear and forthright about that, as have the numerous investigators who have looked into this, including, of course, the Accountability Review Board. I think when it comes to how the U.S. military positions its assets, again, that is a question best answered by the Department of Defense and by commanders. But you get no argument here from the suggestion that there was not adequate security there. That is self-evident, as you said. And the administration's cooperation with investigations here has been exhaustive. It includes, obviously, the full cooperation with the Accountability Review Board, whose credibility has, unfortunately, despite the stature and independence of those who were in charge of it, been questioned by partisans on Capitol Hill. And I think that this reflects, unfortunately, the kind of, partisan gamesmanship that so frustrates the American people when we need to be focused on making sure that adequate security is provided at our diplomatic facilities around the world so that our personnel serving abroad are protected, making sure that the intelligence and resources that we can apply are being applied to bring to justice those who are responsible for the deaths of 4 Americans, and making sure that we continue to provide the resources necessary to our military and the rest of our national security apparatus to allow it to keep us safe. And that's what this President's committed to, and that's reflected in everything he does and says about this issue. I think.
Would you be willing to make any of those documents associated with that press release available, as you did with the Susan Rice talking points?
James, I think we're done here. Thanks.